Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. Today's date is Monday, September 12th, 2022, and I am still on location in Caribou, Maine. I will be until the end of October. But that doesn't mean that I don't have interest in current events, and one that caught my eye today I thought might be a great subject to read about. Alt media is reporting that there is increased security around Trump, his family, and his properties. And I know that Mr. T increased security after the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago. But this is beyond that, is what we're hearing reports of, that there is concern, additional increased concern for his safety, the safety of his family, and to a lesser extent, his properties. And I thought it might be a great question to ask the universe about. So let's do it, okay? I'm so glad you're here. And I'm glad you are as curious as I am about things in the news. It's nice to have people to connect with. Okay, now just so you know, I just got a notice that my internet connection is unstable. So if this video ends up being a little choppy, it's not because of editing or anything that I've done. I usually put my videos up with minimal or no editing at all. And that will be the case here, just so you know. If there's choppiness, it's because the internet connection is unstable. And I would love for that to be because there's events happening in the world. But what I'm finding is it's just kind of the norm for Caribou, Maine and this Airbnb that the internet comes and goes. Okay, I'm going to let you watch me shuffle the cards and we'll see what they have to say about, now we're not going to ask, is it true that there's increased security, but is there cause for concern and is Mr. T going to be safe? So cause for concern about his safety and anything else the universe wants us to know about Mr. T and his safety. Okay, we're going to ask about Mr. T, his safety, and other information relating to that that the universe would like us to know. Our first card is the Ten of Swords, and then the Two of Swords, Three of Cups, Seven of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, King of Pentacles, Page of Swords. So here's what I get. The good news is what's showing up are not wands, which are actions, but swords, which indicate thoughts and words. So yes, there are lots of plans to do Mr. T harm, lots of them. Okay, so the increase of security for himself, his property, his family is justified and valid. I don't know how they could possibly increase from what they already have, but apparently they have taken steps to do so. And that is clarified by the Two of Swords, which is about choices. So they had to make some choices made about freedom of movement and privacy. And sometimes you have to come to a compromise in order to assure someone's safety. So there were some choices that had to be made. Now, the recent past card is one of celebration and healing. So Mr. T had felt like he'd fairly well recovered from the raid to Mar-a-Lago. Okay, the Seven of Pentacles is in the present position, and that is one of, for me, it's always a partial harvest. So they've had to do a little, and this is a truce card. So it tells me a little bit that they had to come to an agreement about the extent and scope of the security for Mr. T, his family, and his properties. Okay, looking ahead here, we have the Nine of Swords. Okay, now remember, thoughts and words. And this usually indicates some worry, but not nearly as much as one would think. So there are some concerns. There have been some plans. There have been some plans ever since he came down that golden elevator, if not before. Okay. But there are some plans, but not as many as one would think. Now, the clarification is our main advice and clarification card is the King of Pentacles. Okay. Now, this is one of success and sovereignty. And so that's saying that the measures to keep him safe will be successful. Now, less important to that, the secondary advice card is the Page of Swords. And he is one of a card that indicates diplomacy and truth, very perceptive. And I think even Mr. T's staunchest critics would have to admit that he is perceptive and intelligent. And I don't think anybody can doubt that. Let's look at a couple other cards about his overall safety. We have the King of Cups showing up. King of Cups, he's very in charge of his emotions. And he can be very, very blunt, somewhat tricky nature. So they are having to put out some misinformation and even disinformation about this entire situation and his safety. Knight of Wands showing up. The Knight of Wands is a very high energy card. It's usually associated with the military. So we do know that there is, in addition to private security, that there is trusted military that oversees the security for Mr. T and his family. Okay. I'd like you to indulge me. I'd like to do a second read, and I'm going to explain what I'm going to ask about. Since there are three specific elements to this security concern for Mr. T, there's concern for Mr. T, for his immediate family, and his properties. I'm going to reshuffle the deck and ask and do a 3x3 spread. There will be 3 cards for Mr. T's personal safety, 3 cards for his immediate family's safety, and then 3 cards for his major property holdings, especially those that have residences and things like that. So Trump Towers, Mar-a-Lago. We're going to put a 3-month, ask the universe for in the next 3 months, what does it have to share about the overall safety and security for Mr. T, for his immediate family, and for his major properties, especially those that involve living residences, things like that. Let's see what the cards have to say. Okay, so we'll be looking at, for the next 3 months, what is the safety and security outlook for Mr. T will be the top row, his immediate family will be the middle row, and his residential type properties will be the 3rd row. Safety and security. What does the universe have to share with us about that status for the next 3 months? Okay. So Mr. T, clarification, clarification. Immediate family, clarification, clarification. Properties, clarification, clarification. Okay, well, here's what we've got for our 3x3 spread. Mr. T is indicated by the Moon card. Now, with the Moon card, there's some secrets and mysteries involved, and you are trusting to intuition and, just kind of listening to your discernment. This is not usually, it's well aspected, a very happy card. Now, look how it's aspected. It's aspected by the Justice card on this side and the Ace of Pentacles on this side, which is telling us no matter what happens because of these 2 cards, ultimately it's going to be okay. So I think the rumors that a person who seems to be Mr. T may be arrested as part of the grand unveiling and disclosures may actually have some merit. It's definitely moving up on the possibilities of scenarios that the white hats are considering or allowing. But again, we're reassured very well here that the Ace of Pentacles is the outcome. So no worries. Looking at his immediate family, okay, they actually don't have a lot of cause for concern. There's some, because as always, there are always some hidden plans and information that maybe they're just not being troubled with. Maybe Mr. T is, his security team, but I think he's feeling like they have enough on their plate. Okay, they're raising families, they're going about their education and what have you. So, but they are going to ultimately be okay. We've got the Knight of Swords looking after them. We have the King of Pentacles here again showing up, and again, he is a card of faithful provider. So Mr. T is making sure he's taking care of his family and his loved ones. That's always been a top priority of him. Now, his properties, let's look at that. We've got the Queen of Swords here showing up for the property status. Okay. Now, this is a very, much a strength card. Okay. And we've got a victory card here. He has gotten some foes to walk off, didn't go for bloodshed. Okay. Just called it, drop your weapons, I'll let you leave. And so a situation involving something similar may occur with the properties. I was asking specifically about residential properties. And again, we have another ace showing up, letting us know all is well, no big concerns. Okay. Reminder here, we've got that Ace of Pentacles here for all is well for Mr. T in the next 3 months as things unfold. Well, I've had people say, how come the cards always say what you expect them to say? And I thought, well, that's because my intuition is working without the ego influencing it. But in this case, my ego has been influencing something, and I didn't want the scenario of a Mr. T arrest to even make it to the top of the possibility pile. And apparently it has moved up as a possibility. So that's it for this video. I'm going to do one little show and tell. If you'd like to leave now because you only want current events, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Your time is precious, and I appreciate it very, very much. Okay, so just the show and tell. Since I'm away from home, I'm having to make do. I'm using a little tripod that's sitting on top of a fan for where the cards are being photographed. And I brought a laptop, so I don't have my usual desktop. And one of the things that's keeping my tarot cloth in place, you may have seen a little bit of it in the corner of the card spread. I make homemade vanilla extract. And this label says vanilla extract made by Laura Greenwood. Enjoy. And so I brought a couple of those with me one's for my daughter and one was for someone else. And since they're still here, they make great paper weights or tarot card cloth weights. So I'm using them. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to probably come back later and do a quick reminder. This coming Sunday is the 3rd Sunday of the month, and we will be doing a meditation. And just as always, it'll be at the same time it usually is, and I'll announce that. I'm going to, I think a great focus for this month's meditation is forgiveness. And we need to grant it and not hang on to resentments. And, you know, I know as we woke up and things that we've learned have been horrific. And we were justified in being disturbed and wanting, you know, justice to be done and vengeance. But at some point you have to just extend some forgiveness and realize that on an eternal basis, things do work out, and that's not up to us to hang on to hate and anger. And that doesn't help the justice process at all. It doesn't help growth at all. And I think it'd be great if we had that be one of our focuses. As always, any positive intention is welcome to be shared and part of our meditation. But let's give it some thought to how not being forgiving is holding us back. And that in turn holds the world back. And since we want these changes in our world and reality and for humanity, we need to do everything possible to make that happen. If that means saying, I forgive you, or I'm willing to forgive you, and then work towards it, we can do it. We've got this, folks. All right. Have a great day. Thank you for your time and for staying after the official goodbye for show and tell and a little announcement. And I do appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous day. I send you love and light.